Hello friends, I'm Christopher. Today I'm transitioning my workshop from this into this! This update has been such a long time coming and I'm thrilled. Stick with the video, I know it's long and I talk the entire time, but I take you through every section of the workshop and you see the before and the after photos in the end and all the changes that I made in between and why I did it. And I hope it's inspirational for you if you're in the process of making updates to your shop or you want to feel like, yeah, I've got a small shop too and this guy's got a good layout. I just hope it's good for you because it's been good for me, so let's get started. There's a lot to unpack here, so there's no real good camera angle. I'm gonna walk around and face you in a couple different corners and we'll talk about some of the changes that I'm anticipating making. I've been an active woodworker for the last 10, 12 years, and every year I do something bigger and better than the last. Starting with cribbage boards and dice and little things so long ago, to making things like shelving and end tables and beds and cribs in recent years. Coming up this fall I'll be making a half a dozen bookshelves. And my carpentry skills outside have increased significantly. All the shed that I built and the play sets, all these things. And over the years, I have just adapted my shop as needed, but I'm at a point now where I'm doing much more fine woodworking. So I am starting to acquire bigger and nicer pieces of machinery. I had a small, I think 10-inch, for example, drill press, and I got this floor model 15-inch that I was able to find in beautiful condition. We're going to give it a nice tune-up. But I got a couple of things like this recently, quality products off the secondhand market on Facebook. DeWalt thickness planer, dust collection system, you name it. So I need to integrate them into my system and improve the flow and design from where it is right now. That's the impetus for this video. Right? I'm taking myself more seriously, I'm going to be monetizing my workshop more, and I just need a smarter workspace. I'm sure you've been in that situation or you're about to be in that situation if you're watching this. So I hope you can appreciate it because it's probably going to be a lengthy, wordy video. My workshop is effectively 15 feet by 15 feet, if you can picture a square. Right behind you is the bottom of the stairs. So it's a little bit longer in that stairwell where the camera tripod is positioned right now, which is why I can work with 8, 9-foot boards and I can get them through the table saw or the planer right in the middle because it's at the bottom of the stairwell and then it feeds on my outfeed table safely. So that's effectively, it's a box with a little square on top of it. So let's start with this wall. My workshop was built with things that I had or things that people gave to me at a good cost. All of my tools came as gifts when I was a kid, starting with my scroll saw and my old drill press and hand tools. Where am I going with this? I don't know, this is just kind of an evolution of my philosophy. This wall is a hodgepodge, right? It separates my workshop from the heating unit for our house, effectively, right? And over there is my laundry. These cabinets were a gift when we moved into the house. Somebody took them out of their old house and I said, sure, I'll take them and I'll store my stuff. Right, I got all sorts of things in here. One of my first steps is going to be to take these down, clean them out, get rid of what I don't need, and reorganize. But everything is going off of this wall. I've got a mobile clamp solution that's probably gonna stay in that situation. I think this is probably going to go along this wall. I'll probably be getting rid of this piece of furniture, which I've used as storage. I've got a Black & Decker mobile workbase that's probably going to move. This old kitchen pantry shelf is going to move. And I'm going to use this wall for big things that need to be on the side effectively. Right? Like my DeWalt planer that I just got, it's a 735X and it's on a wheeling stand. I want that wheeled in here when I don't need it and wheel out when I do, right? I also think that if I have those kind of products here, I should be able to do lumber storage up here because I've got this 15 feet worth of length, and right now, if you can see by my feet, I've got some 8-foot ash that I'm going to be using for a project, but I don't have any place to store it because my ceilings are just over 7 feet. So What I've had to do always is put it on the floor. I'd like to get it off the floor. I'm envisioning vertical racks here. Let's move the camera. We're moving clockwise in the shop, right? Here are the shelves that I was just talking about. In this corner, one of the first projects I made in the workshop, actually the first project was this workbench behind me, and then I made this. I call it the Lazy Susan. And it was just a corner thing made out of some plywood I had and some 2x4s, and I had a curtain rod that was left over, a junk curtain rod in the house, and I had some casters, and as you can see, right, it spins around like this. And this was a lifesaver for me, especially with my smaller tools, right? My saw here, the old belt and disc sander, and my old drill press were here, among other things that have floated over the years. But now that I've upgraded and I don't have the tables or the drill press, and I don't really use this tool, I've got a different spindle sander, my oscillating sander that I prefer to use. I'm going to find a different spot for this. Take out everything on the bottom that's effectively used for storage, determine whether I need it or not, and I'm going to be selling this, just getting rid of it in the secondhand marketplace. My thought is to move this bench straight into the corner. On the back of this, I'm going to be mounting up this sheet of plywood, which is right in front of me and impossible to move around because I'm not going to be drilling into the foundation of my walls. So in order to have a wall where I can mount things, I have to put 2x4s all the way to the top, mount this to the back of them, and that becomes an artificial wall. And on said artificial wall, I'm going to mount these cabinets and a few more that I have in storage. So just imagine that going maybe up to the window. As it continues up to the window, I think the table will probably stop here, and I'm going to get rid of my mobile saw, not sawhorse, but my mobile station for my chop saw. Right, this is great. My chop saw is meant to be taken to a job site, set this up, go to town. I'm using it outside for a project right now, but I'm going to build a dedicated base, a miter saw station, so it'll be flush with the top of this. The miter saw will sit in it. I'll have markings, I'll have the dust collection for it, and it'll sit right about here. This corner I'm envisioning as my dust collection corner. We have a little bit of water seepage from outside, a project that I'm working on later this year and into next year. That'll be mitigated, but I'm going to have plywood back, just like I have here. This is just plywood mounted on 2x4s on the back of workbenches. I'm going to do a setup, effectively 4 feet on this wall and 4 feet on that wall, and I think I'm going to be mounting much of my dust collection here, right? I ended up getting a Shopfox 1 horsepower wall-mounted dust collection system, but it's got a canister filter with it that's really nice. So the canister filter increases the flow rate as opposed to a bag, and it does a much better job than literally having nothing, which I've had ever since I've been in this house. My lungs are looking forward to that improvement, but that's going to be mounted up here. Same with the siphoning system and the bins for collection, and any kind of pipe work will be mounted into these backs that go along. I'm likely going to build a boom that can go over this space because I've got my router and I've got my table saw in the middle, and I'm never going to have one tool connected to the dust collection at one time because I don't have the space for that. It's not how I operate, and it'll increase the efficiency of the dust collection. In order to fit that in this space, this whole unit has to shift. This is my custom storage solution for my most commonly used things: drill presses, different marking gauges, sanding, pliers, the things that you usually just grab and go. Everything's got a spot. At the end of the day, it goes back there, it's nice and clean. But right next to it are some really crappy cabinets that a previous owner built. In the very corner back there is an actual important pipe, water main for the house, but the whole thing doesn't need to be sealed up. So I'm going to be taking out, right now I expect, most of these white cabinets, and inside I've just got junk cutoffs that I've been saving forever, like of pine, nothing important. Do you guys do that too? Oh, I'll use that for something, ... 10 years later. Time to purge. With those gone, I'll be able to shift this down and fit the dust collection. And that gets us here to my table saw, router, and my main outfeed table. Here are the shelves that I was just talking about, getting rid of them. except for maybe a section like this big. I might say this door here, get rid of everything else. But because of that, that'll be shifted down. I'm either going to get rid of this table, which was just, it was here when we bought the house, and I've added a slab to the top of it, and I made it structurally secure. I might either build something new or just add to the top of this. I want this height to be level with this, make it a proper outfeed table, probably make it, I don't know, the 4 feet instead of the 2 feet that it is now. We'll see, right? But effectively the table saw has to stay in this middle position. Like I was talking about earlier, I come down the stairs and if I got a long board that needs ripping, it goes here and I can safely extend and use the whole space. I have some tweaks to do with all of my tools. Like I've got to clean this up really nice and fix some of my vices and tweak my router and all those kind of things, but this is the time for it. As you can tell, I'm in the preliminary phase of deciding exactly what to do, but I thought I would take you along on this in my brain design journey because it's excited to finally be getting going. I'm excited. I'm nervous to begin this project like pretty much anything else. This is big, this is structural changes, but they'll be incredibly beneficial. So, with that, we'll see how I cut the editing, but here we go. Well, what do you think? I am so pleased. Thank you very much to my wife, who was patient while I did all this renovation here and there for the last month, effectively. It was a big deal. I was really pleased with how well I did finding these things secondhand for the most part on the Facebook Marketplace and making use of the materials I had on hand, repurposing things like this workbench was part of that old carousel that was in the other corner once upon a time. This is a great spot to stop. There are still some things that I want to do that I'll probably work on over the next couple months. Like I want to get some nice T-track for this and run it all the way down and put some, positive stops in there for when I'm using my chop saw here and I'm making multiple repeat cuts. I have a feeling I'll probably want to look for a replacement for this. This gets a flow rate of like 600, 550, something like that, CFM. And I really like the 1.5 horsepower one from another company, and that gets closer to 1200 CFM. There are other small little things, but I'm in a really good spot. Thank you so much for watching. Are you updating your workshop? Have you recently? What changes did you make? Maybe you'll be my inspiration next. What did you like about what I did? What might you have done differently? Sky's the limit, man. Go out and do some woodworking and enjoy your space. Be creative. Take care. Bye.